Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Emily, and on this channel we talk about all things bookish, college life, sometimes some vacation vlogs. Today I'm going to be reading my most anticipated books. There are a couple of books that I have been really wanting to read, and I cannot wait to read them, and I thought I'd make a whole entire video out of it. This book was the book that started this video. I just need to know if you guys also are in love with these books as I am or will be. So I thought I'd make it like a week in the life of the college student plus anticipated reads type of video. So please subscribe, comment down below, do whatever you want to do. But we're starting off with a bang with Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Okay, the ring light is not. The Glare. The Glare is there. This is a paranormal romance following, I think they call them vampires, not vampires, but a vampire called Misery Lark, and she's the daughter of a powerful vampire councilman. However, she was sent to live in the human world, so vampires kind of hate her, humans hate her, weres hate vampires, and so she is set in an arranged marriage with a were, or werewolf, the alpha, as I would say. Sometimes when I speak this stuff out loud, I'm like, dang, am I really reading a book about that? That's kind of embarrassing. But at the same time, if you know me, Twilight, I'm obsessed with. Vampire Diaries, obsessed with. All of like the vampire werewolf stuff, like, it's my thing. It's my vibe. So basically, they're set up into an arranged marriage, and I think like more like hate to love because, you know, rivals, whatever. I'm a third of the way through it. If you know anything about Ali Hazelwood and me, Ali Hazelwood is my favorite adult romance author. She normally writes STEM romances. So when she came out on Instagram saying, I'm writing a paranormal romance, I was like, shut up. This is my book. This is my time. I'm a little bit afraid because, again, it's like out of her wheelhouse a little bit, but I am a third of the way through this book. And so far, I'm gonna be honest, I had like high expectations, like very high expectations, and I feel like I should lower them a little bit. But I feel like about 50 pages in, it was all backstory and like build up. It didn't really have a lot of like plot to it. It's literally just explaining Misery's, which by the way, I love her name. Like Misery, I think that's like the cutest name, especially for a vampire. Like, I love it. But it's basically just her backstory and everything going on with her. Now that I am 140 pages into it, I'm starting to love it. And there are like, okay, I don't know if she meant to do this, but there are like these little nods towards Twilight. So there's this girl named Anna in here, and she's like a little girl, and she like crawled into her window from the roof, and she's like, oh my gosh, look at you, little spider monkey. Tell me that's not from Twilight. Come on, tell me that's not. Also, one of the big things in this book is, okay, one of the big things in Twilight is where Edward goes, and she like can't smell her, and she's like, oh my gosh, do I smell gross? But no, it was his own personal brand of heroin because she smelled so good. And the same thing is happening in this book where he's like, and she's like, I took a bath today, like, does that not help the smell? And he's like, unfortunately, it's not recovering for me. It's still there. And I just love that trope. And come on, those are nods to Twilight. Tell me that they're not. Another thing that I'm loving so far is her just personality. I think because she's been treated bad her entire life. There are times where, there was this one time where this guy spit on her and she was just like, oh, that's rude. But the guy, you know, Lo, I didn't even tell you guys his name, Lo, goes up to him and is just like, oh, you apologize right now to my wife. Shut up! And so I think that's going to be a big character development thing of her knowing her worth and standing up for, she stands up for herself physically, like if anybody ever comes after her and like tries to kill her. Anyway, I am so excited to continue. I'm so excited, and I will update you guys a little bit later. I'll let you know how it goes. I think it'll be 4 to 5 star. I'm pretty sure. Guys, I look crazy right now. Okay, it is the next day, and I've already finished Bride. This book is so bingeable. I literally sat in my bed for hours just reading this book, and I really loved it. I love it. I was so right with her character development. The moments when she literally learned to love herself, and the way that he was so gentle and caring with her and was like, dude, you gotta think of yourself in a better way. You have to like, people should be treating you better, and that should be your normal. I also just really love the world building and just the entire world in and of itself, how vampires have purple blood and werewolves have green blood, and like literally the entire thing, the entire anatomy, like everything. And I know I keep saying, oh, it's kind of similar to Twilight. It's not. I just really like those nods. So I really like how she created a very unique world, but still gave me the vampires and werewolves that I've always loved. I love Lo. Like, Lo was just so sweet, so caring, so everything. I literally am obsessed with him. Every single time that we got them together, there was tension. There was this underlying like adoration for one another, both of them loving each other, but they're like, oh, well, what if, not miscommunication, but just like, you know, like self-doubt, or like, I want them to say it first, but I don't know how to explain it, because it wasn't like in a toxic or weird way. It was just pure underlying love for one another. One thing that's kind of weird that I actually enjoyed in this book, so a lot of adult romances have spice scenes, okay? And usually I skip them. I like skim them because they're all really repetitive, and also sometimes they use words that are kind of vulgar and like cheesy and like cringes me out. This book, well, number one, it's different because it's a paranormal romance. That's just different. But I just loved how this one, like the spice scenes in this book, were just so full of care, kindness, checking in on each other. Just so, it was like a build up. It wasn't just like, oh, we're just gonna do it because we're like attracted to each other. It was a build, like their whole relationship was just, I just loved it. And so I didn't skip those scenes, maybe like one in the end, but I actually thought like it benefited the book, or like their relationship, and that it actually brought them closer. It wasn't just like a one-off, or just, it didn't mean anything. Like, it meant a lot to them, and I thought that was really sweet. So I just wanted to say, if you are a person that reads adult romances and you don't really like those scenes, or you skim over them, maybe try this book out. I just thought Ali Hazelwood was giving. She was giving. And I just love how her personality shines through it all. Like, in every book that I read by Ali Hazelwood, it's very geeky, it's very quirky. You know exactly what to expect no matter the genre. Even if it was a YA, you know that it's gonna have her own personality in it. And I think that's what I love about her. That's why she's my favorite, because I love her personality. I love how she writes. I love her writing style. And yeah, I loved it. I'm not going to give it a 5. I think I'm going to give it a 4.25 or 4.5 stars, which is pretty good. Love it. I think the next book I'm going to be reading, actually, I'll get it for you. Hold on. I think the next book is going to be Wildfire by Hannah Grace. If you know anything about Wildfire or Hannah Grace in general, this is the second book in the Icebreaker series. It's a companion novel series. Icebreaker I read in the beginning of 2023. And I loved it, 5 to 5 stars. And so this one is a little bit different, not ice skating and that type of vibe, but it is still new adult. And I think it's about two people that go to the same school, and they have like a one night stand or something. She leaves before he could get her name, and then they are both camp counselors at a camp they're working at, and there's a no fraternization policy. So I'm hoping that it's really good. I have high expectations, but I'm also just going into this knowing that it's probably going to be like a trashy romance novel. Like this one, I had high expectations because I love Ali Hazelwood and everything that she writes, but this one, I'm just hoping that I at least love it enough that if she comes out with any other books, that I will pick it up as well. So let's get on into that. Okay, I look a little crazy right now. I just took a shower. But I recently just went to Asheville. I'm on my spring break, so I ate a pizza as large as my head. I went to the Barnes & Nobles there, 2 stories, amazing. I went on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and I also got through, let me get it, 50% of Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This book, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like it wasn't the right time to read this book because after Fourth Wing and Bride, I'm in kind of like a fantasy mood right now. And usually that's okay, switching to adult romance, but this is new adult. And I feel like new adult has that vibe of like douchey, F-boy-y, and like, okay, my favorite part of the book is Russ, because he's the complete opposite of that. He's very earnest and bashful and adorable, and my favorite thing is their dynamic, him and Aurora's dynamic, and where she's very confident and she's never been with a guy like him. So every single time like the interaction's like, wow, he's really intentional. And I love that, like her discovering what she deserves and him discovering what he deserves. But just the vibe of new adult in general gives off that, like, I don't know, just not mature vibe. And I think in fantasy books where they have to be mature because there's so much at stake, it's just so different from what I kind of want right now. And I don't know if it's right book, wrong time, but also there's a couple of other things that I'm not loving. So starting Wildfire, I was kind of taken out of the book for a little bit because I think Hannah Grace really wanted you to read Icebreaker first and then go immediately into Wildfire, because there's a whole entire group. There's JJ, there's Henry, there's other guys in this group that I just don't remember, and she does not reintroduce them. And I don't want like a whole like info dump thing. I just want her to at least reintroduce them a little bit, because I kind of just didn't know their significance. And even the same thing with Russ, I low-key did not know who he was until Stoss called him Muffin, and I was like, okay, that's the guy that Stoss called Muffin. They're close, but I still don't remember the significance. Like, he did something with the rink, and I'm like, what did he do again? Can you, because they talk about it and how he's upset about it, but I'm just like, what did he do again? Like, can you just like let me know so I can remember real quick? Also, there's no plot in this book. I'm loving the setting of like the camp, and I just love the meaning for both of them, but there's no plot. Like, if they are together, they'll fall asleep and then boom, it's like 2 days later and then they're doing something else. Like, it only cuts the moments that they have together instead of like a huge interaction with other characters. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I'm making any sense. There's just no plot. It's just them. And I feel like I'm being kind of negative. I also don't really love Aurora. Like, I like them individually. I mean, I don't love her, but I don't hate her. I love Russ. And there are times where Russ is just being himself, going through the stuff that he's going through. And she like makes him feel bad for it. She's like, oh, why didn't you tell me you were leaving? And he's just like, oh, I'm so sorry. I miscommunicated. No, you didn't. Do not apologize, Russ. Do not apologize. And that has happened like 4 times now where he's apologized for something that he literally didn't do anything wrong. So I'm hoping that the end goes somewhere and that I'm interested. If I still end up giving it a 3.5 star, that's not a bad rating, and I will continue on with the series, but we'll see how it goes. However, I did want to say something else. I got Powerless while I was in Asheville, and this is a very highly anticipated read for me, and I was planning on reading Lightlark for the next book in this video. However, I was like, let me just ask Instagram, Barry's Corner, go follow me if you want to be a part of these polls, which one I should read, and Powerless was winning 100% for hours. Right now it's 75 to 25, so the next book I will be reading is Powerless. This book, girl, I don't know at all. Let me just read to you what this is about. Only the extraordinary belong in the kingdom of Ilia, the exceptional, the elites. The elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Ilia and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Payton? An ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. But when she unwittingly saves one of Ilia's princes, Kai Azur, she's thrown into the purging trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elites' powers. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting feelings for will... Why did I not read this? The prince she's fighting for will, if he discovers what Payton is, completely ordinary. I feel like that's a very ordinary plot. I feel like that talks a lot about every other fantasy book that I've ever read. But people rave about this book, and I'm very excited. I am, oh, shut up. It's dual perspective. Okay. I'm very excited now. Okay. Let me finish Wildfire, and then let me read Powerless so we can get on with this video. Kitty, I'm filming. No meows, please. No, no, no. Hello, guys. It's been a while since I've talked to you. I just came back from Chicago. I went to Chicago for a conference and I absolutely loved it. I've never been to Chicago before, so I went to Chinatown. I went to all these different places, learned a lot at my conference, literally loved it. But it's been a while because I finished Wildfire and I'm also halfway through, more than halfway through, Powerless by Lauren Roberts. So I have a lot to update you guys on. Number one, Wildfire. It's been a bit since I finished this, so I feel like my feelings, like the more I get away from it, the more I just don't care about the book. And I think the main reasons for that is number one, the main character, Aurora. I already told you guys this, but I just don't like how she would get mad at Russ and be like, why aren't you divulging your biggest and darkest secrets to me in 1 week? And like make Russ say sorry for that. And I'm like, girl, you are acting entitled. You literally do not know this man, especially since he thought you left him like the first like one night stand night. Anyway, I just did not like that. And then when I went to go put in my like little rating on Goodreads, this girl said she's such a pick me girl, and I hate that word, but like it's so true. Kitty, did you hear her meow? Aurora is the ultimate pick me girl, and I hate saying that, but like it's so true. Also, I heard somebody else say that they didn't like Stas from the first book. I liked her in the first book, but maybe just Hannah Grace doesn't know how to write females, because I loved Russ in this book. And another person that I really loved was Xander in this book, which was like a side character that we hadn't met before. Still don't know anything about Henry, JJ, and all the other people in the group, so hopefully the next book I understand them a little bit more. But also the third act conflict. Oh my gosh, she did this multiple times. Like, I think she did this where she would have like 1 page of conflict and then a couple pages later it was like already resolved. I think because she didn't want a miscommunication trope, but it was still in there. It was just small miscommunication. They're like, oh my gosh, we did it again, we miscommunicated. Shut up, you're annoying me. And so the final conflict literally on that page flipped it, done. And I was like, this literally did not need to be the third act conflict. It could have been something else, or just I don't know, end the book early. I don't know, because that was just not the vibe. I ended up giving this a 3.25 stars. No, I've been thinking about it, maybe a 3. I think the more farther away I get from this book, I'm just like kind of annoyed. Going on to Powerless though, this book I have a lot of thoughts on. This book is so bingeable, and I've been saying that for like so many books recently, but I cannot, like I'm constantly thinking about this book. I'm constantly wanting to pick it up. I'm loving the main character. In contrast to Wildfire, the main character, unlike other fantasy books, I feel like they always try to make her confident and badass and just like strong, and she is all of those things, but she also has the qualities where she takes in all the little things, and she's so excited about flowers in her hair, and just like so like heartfelt and emotional and empathetic, and just has those anxiety, the insecurities. It's just there, and it's very prominent, and everyone can see it. And I think that's really beautiful that she's not always trying to hide that. Of course she has those moments, especially with Kai, where she's snarky and she's bantery and she's confident, which I love, especially that she feels that way with Kai. But I just love seeing that side of her. I also love Kai. I like the characters. The one thing I will say about this book, it's not original. You can tell that this author took so much inspiration from other works, and not just inspiration, but like almost copy and paste. Number one, the main one is Hunger Games. Of course, there's not really districts in here, but she's from the slums, so like the lowest part of, I guess, Ilya. And then the trials aren't a fight to the death, but a lot of people do die, and they kind of try to make people have combat so they can die. And just like the Hunger Games, the trials are also for show. Like they have interviews, and people can send things into the arena. Like, how is that not copy paste Hunger Games? I don't know. There's also many moments. The first weapon that she made, do you know what it was in the arena or in the trial? A bow and arrow. You could have been a little bit less obvious. And then there was a part where she was tending to Kai's wounds with like a salve that she made. Literally reminded me of the Katniss and Peeta scene when whatever. And Katniss found Peeta by a lake or a river. She found Kai by a lake. It's different how they found each other. But it's just like, whoa, it's like kind of uncanny how similar those two are. And then also when they were kind of like honoring a fallen tribute, it literally said that. They did like, I guess like they said 2 fingers, and I was like, you're lying, because you know in Hunger Games it's 3 fingers. But then she said like they made it into a triangle, a diamond or whatever put over. It was just like, you're actually copying and pasting. And I'm not saying it as a negative. I think it is a little bit of a negative thing, but I'm not saying that I'm not enjoying it. I love the Hunger Games. I love Shrek. I love those movies for a reason. And so this is really bringing out that, like, my favorite parts of those movies. But again, it's just not original. And I know that a lot of people have rated this book negatively or a lower star because of that. However, I do want to say, just because they have those scenes that are Katniss and Peeta, like, esque, I don't see them as Katniss and Peeta. Their banter, their childhoods, just how they speak to each other, how they interact with each other is so, like, Kai and Peyton. Like, that is them. And I love seeing them together, and I love their internal monologues, and I love that we get Kai's perspective as well. The way that he thinks about her is literally, like, him saying, like, I'm seeing the sunset behind her, but it dulls in comparison. Like, shut up. Stop talking. That is literally so cute. So, I am really liking this book. If I were to rate it right now, I'd give it, like, probably 4.25 stars, because I'm loving it so much and I'm literally eating it up. I can't wait to continue reading it and finishing it. But at the same time, it's like, dang, like, it's not anything I haven't read before. So anyway, I finished Wildfire, finishing this book. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, guys, I have been. Oh, it might be a little echoey in here. Maybe I will never film in this location again, but it's the end of the video. I have finished. Sorry, I was looking at the thing and those lights like look like they shut off from my perspective. Anyway, okay. I have finished this video, and I've also finished Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This book, I'm going to say it, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Every single time I stop, like I take a break from reading this book, I just want to read it again and again and again. I just want to get right back into it. I love Peyton and Kai. I love their dynamic. I just love how he speaks about her. Like, he's so in love with her, even though he hasn't said it. I know that he loves her, she's in love with him. I love that dynamic between them. And honestly, what I really love in this book is even just how Lauren Roberts writes the side characters as well, and her relationship with Kit and Peyton, which is Kit is Kai's brother. However, I did see some more moments of unoriginality. Like, there in one of the trials, there was the maze that from Harry Potter, like the Goblet of Fire. And then there was this other scene that was from the Shatter Me series. And I'm not going to like spoil it, but basically Juliet's talking to somebody and she says his last name and he's like smiles and she's like, what? And he's like, I love when you say my last name or my name. And she's like, well, that's not really your name is this. And he smiles even more. And that scene happened in this book too. And that's a great scene. But just, again, I was taken out of the story because it's literally copy and paste from Shatter Me. And every single time that she wrote her own story, like Lauren Roberts, I love her writing style. And every single time that she wrote her own, like, part of the story, it was good. Like, I really enjoyed, like, it was swoon-worthy. It was amazing. So I'm really hoping that the second book will, like, just be a lot more original. Like, yes, maybe get some vibes from Shatter Me, some vibes from Harry Potter, some vibes from The Hunger Games. But I want it to be more of her own, like, not stealing bits from The Hunger Games or Shrek even. Like, I just find that so funny. But now at the end of this book and in the second book, it's going to go from that animosity to friends to lovers now to enemies. And it's kind of make me miss this book because I really loved them getting to know each other. But now I'm also intrigued to see how the enemies part is going to come into play and just see how, like, Kai is still so in love with her but is like, no, like, you did this, you betrayed me, like, how is this gonna play out? I'm so excited. I actually don't know when it's coming out or if it's already out. I don't think it is. Oh, but it's so good. It's so good. I did end up giving this book a 4.25 stars because I I don't know, something about the unoriginality portion and her like copy pasting scenes. But 4.25 is a really good rating, like really, really, really good rating. And honestly, my highly anticipated books, 4.25, 4.5, I low-key already forgot. I think this one was 4.5, 4.25, 4.75? I know it wasn't a 5, I know it wasn't a 4. And then Wildfire being about a 3 stars. I mean, this disappointed me, but overall, like, I kind of snap. Like, I kind of know my tastes. I'm honestly so excited. I just heard that Ali Hazelwood is going to be writing a sequel to it. I kind of knew it from the end. I kind of knew it. But definitely happy with my anticipated reads. Let me know what you think about these books. If you've read them, please subscribe, comment down below. Do whatever you want to do. And goodbye.